does a bit of dancing in the backfield, gets free, then quickly delivers. Second option is there. Murphy Curran with the goal.
I doubt it.
I think it's
2-1. 2-1. Sorry, 2-0. 2-0 for AUC.
no.
Yeah.
The white team scored.
Yeah. That's the
You
AUC.
said they were ski jump.
No.
No, you didn't. Actually, we're getting back, so let me Who's ahead?
2-0, yeah.
Who's ahead? AC or?
AUC, yeah, sorry.
16 minutes past 9. And they have time there as well again. Games are, so it's 45 minutes, 44 minutes left, I think.
We are rising high at the Rising High tournament from Delft, Amsterdam. The Winter Wonderland edition is indeed playing into its name because the weather is quite cold and windy, not quite frosty yet, but we don't know what can happen throughout the day. It is going to be a family affair in the commentary booth this weekend. My name is Rachel Toshnerova and I am joined by my wonderful partner, John Doherty. John, how is the mood?
Well, if we had a small bit of snow here, we would indeed have a blizzard, so it would be a winter wonderland. The conditions are pretty terrible for first game of the day, but the teams are starting to get used to it. It was a little bit worse at the start, so hopefully the wind keeps continuing to drop down and might get to see some good ultimate today. So
We hopefully will. We should also tell our viewers, our audience, that some of these players already got a little bit of practice yesterday because this tournament has a specialty and we arrived yesterday to witness it. John, can you tell us more about that?
yeah, so it's essentially like a 3-day Frisbee event, and on day one, I guess it's more for the teams that maybe want to arrive early. There's essentially a hat tournament. So yesterday we got to see a lot of players where they, again, a hat tournament, you just you sign up, you give your expected rating of how good you think you are, and they assign the teams randomly. And I bบthey had 8 teams yesterday.
5v5, right?
5v5, slightly smaller fields, still challenging conditions, but it was a lot of fun for the people to arrive early, and a nice thing, especially if you're a team that has to travel maybe the day before a tournament. You can come early and get some practice in the venue.
And for the first time during this game, we see some big puts on the field. For the first 2 points, currently the score 2-0 for AUC, Amsterdam Ultimate Club. We've seen a lot of zoning from both teams, and Not too many deep shots, but now AUC going upwind. They have decided that it might not be the worst tactics, and I must agree with them, really. And they swing the disc nicely, move it to the near sideline. There's no continuation into the end zone, however, but they're getting very close. Engelbrecht with the assist for the score. Lovely stuff out of AUC, and they go up 3-0.
Yeah, that's their second upwind now. So we've seen one team is doing slightly better in these conditions, and just as I'm saying this, our monitors on the screen are nearly blowing over. So to score into this wind, it's almost more of a side wind, but it is a slightly upwind score there. Again, very challenging conditions to throw. I would not like to be playing here. We did a little bit of throwing yesterday at the hat tournament when we were watching, and it was difficult to say the least, and I think we'd consider ourselves somewhat experienced throwers. We found it a bit tough, and today it's even more challenging. So again, maybe it's closer to a side wind now, so I guess that can even out the game a little bit. But again, the AUC team from Amsterdam showing that at the moment they're the team that looks more confident in the wind, and we're going to see this we're going to need a ski jump to maybe take a bit more of a deep shot approach, maybe in these conditions, get to this near the end zone. I think sometimes in these conditions you get one lucky pass, it can be worth the score. So Amsterdam more established as a team, the ski jump team, a couple of pickups, mostly I think it was about half the players are from Delft, and then a couple of international players, so a couple of them just getting used to playing with each other as well maybe.
We will get a little more into the history of ski jump and other teams named after winter sports at this tournament in a little bit, but in the meantime, let's get back on the field where we see AUC put up another zone, and the handlers of ski jump trying to work around it. They find an open player, but the disc just wobbles out of her hands, unfortunately, and AUC just right outside the end zone. They just need one pass to complete the next score, and they do. That is Vrona with the score for AUC, the Polish international on this Dutch team. They also have a couple. I will guess that they are probably students doing either their entire studies or maybe just an Erasmus year in Amsterdam. Lots of people moving to the Netherlands, and some of them just for Frisbee.
Yeah, perhaps. I think at that point there, maybe if it was later in the day, we might have saw Callahan. I think that the wind just floated that disc up, and yeah, again, just challenging conditions for the ski jump team. And like we said, sometimes just not having the disc near your own end zone can save you some trouble. We saw there they couldn't even get the two forward passes in a row. The wind really is difficult. I don't think we can stress it enough for the viewers at home how difficult it is to throw many passes in this. So if you're seeing a team here playing well and getting a true zone, you can be sure it's pretty good offense if they're working a true zone here. I would almost say you should almost make a zone illegal in these kind of conditions. It seems unfair, but let's see how it goes for the rest of the day.
We even have a few fans gathering in the stands behind the field, and of course right next to them you're able to witness the wind yourselves, watching the flags. And honestly, I'm surprised I even see shorts on the field. It is so cold.
Oh yeah.
I would have opted for the long pants version for sure. And here's a nice pull. It is, however, rolling out of bounds, and it looks like ski jump will take it from the sideline. Bold choice, I like that. Engel with the pickup. And this one, nicely saved by Schlingmann. She's been a steady handler for the ski jump offense, bringing lots of experience on the team. Now from the far sideline, they keep swinging the disc back and forth, not afraid of taking many passes, knowing that downwind it might be slightly easier. Bresch, another one of the handlers for ski jump. Oh, and there's a nice defensive effort by Song. She has been using her tall frame on defense for AUC in this game a few times already. Oh, and an unfortunate drop. Lyon unable to hold on to that disc, and ski jump wastes no time, but this one, again, a difficult one-handed grab turns into another turnover, and Lyon picking up the disc. And defensive pressure from Bresch gives the disc back to ski jump. Again, that zone setup, that's a high disc. Song tries to get there once more, but this time ski jump able to save that one, but on the next pass the forehand goes to the turf. Another chance for AUC. They'll be looking for that deep shot. It goes up. The tall receiver's there, but nice positioning from Bresch. Waiting for the wind to press that disc down, and ski jump respond with a deep shot of their own, using the slight dying out of that wind to their advantage and gaining good position if they can get the D straight away from here. Great defensive effort. That break throw was not in the right direction, and now we see a foul call from Tori Dike. Not from her, but on her. And it looks like it will be uncontested. And the disc will get tapped in straight away. That lefty forehand is an advantage, but despite the two receivers in the end zone, the disc will end up on the ground once more. And another big put. Controlled defensively by two players of ski jump, who are sensing the opportunities for their possible first score in this game. Nice continuation. Tori once more in front of the end zone. Is she gonna use that lefty backhand or forehand? There it is. And a first score for ski jump. Lovely stuff for the ladies in dark. And they go up 1 point to 4.
Yeah, pretty long point there. It's a bit surprising there was so many turns there. The wind actually had died down a little bit for that point. And at the start, yeah, the ski jump team, they looked a bit more confident there. Maybe had some slightly more experienced handlers on, but it just got a little bit crazy there, where teams couldn't even complete a pass for a couple of moments. And again, I think ski jump, they needed to get that one. They looked the more likely to score. And again, their zone offense, bar one or two throws that were a little over the top, they actually started off the point pretty good. So again, that's a good sign for them for the rest of the game if they can keep getting some of those players on the disc. And again, I think that one, like we said, is more of a crosswind but slightly downwind. And I think that point, when you have that many turnovers, sometimes the first team to just shoot deep is going to have the advantage. And the ski jump got that shot down into the corner, and after that it was just a case of forcing Amsterdam to have to get the disc out of a tough spot. So I think they were always going to end up scoring that one unless there was some amazing play by Amsterdam. The wind picking up again now, so let's see how this next point goes. Hopefully a few less turnovers, but again, these are challenging conditions. So
maybe to explain a bit, you will see a couple of teams at this tournament with these winter sports names. And that indicates the fact that these teams have been put together by the organizers of the tournament from players who have signed up and would not have a full team, could not roster a full team at the tournament. So they would just register with a group of friends, and then the organizers would form teams out of them, hence the different international players. But a nice deep shot goes up straight away from the first pass, lands right in front of the end zone on the line, and with two passes the AUC score straight away. That was Osse with the assist, and I am not sure if we will get the scorer there, but it was 100% nice effort by the receivers. There were two of them there. They communicated nicely and brought the disc down safely in the end zone.
yeah, I think they're off the pull or off the throw. You could see the thrower before that hook just saying run deep, and it looked like there was maybe 3, maybe 4 players just free deep. I don't think there's a situation where you couldn't throw that. I think maybe the ski jump line maybe just forgot for a moment that the wind is kind of downwind, so any chance to throw, even if it's 30% in your favor and 70% for the defense, it might still be going deep. So interesting strategy to force them deep there. But like you said, with this tournament, a lot of kind of, we won't call them pickup teams because it's a bit different, but like you said, groups of people can sign up. It's a nice element to this event where, you know, maybe you don't have a full team that can come, but you have a group of players who want to come play a good tournament. And so far from what I've seen at this one, the organisation is really good. Everyone seems to be enjoying themselves. And in the women's division, it's kind of a mix of groups and Swiss draw to start, where they have basically set the first 3 games, but you'll be scored like a Swiss draw scoring system, and then they will go into the knockout stages after. So again, a bit of an interesting element to this one, where it's almost more like the European club season in some ways, where you'll kind of end up playing teams that you choose to play almost, and you'll just be given a rating based on how good that result was. So it's not about wins and losses in the women's division, it's about how well you play.
So ski jump choosing to start this point off of the brick mark. We see the handler trio once more. Schlingmann wide open, but they decide to go in the other direction, and that's a lovely grab, lovely defense by Faldudo, the American on this Dutch team. And there she was going for the up line, but a little bit of a miscommunication where we had 2 people cutting into the same space. And ski jump find themselves with the disc once again, but that backhand just turns away from its intended receiver. And we currently have a weird situation where on the right half of the field the wind is blowing one way, and on the other half the wind is blowing the opposite direction. So I have to say AUC is going downwind, but that was a lovely last minute defensive effort by Schlingmann, who is now looking for some help to get out of that corner. Oh, and a dropped disc. There was a second try, but unsuccessful, unfortunately. And that is Ose centering the disc to Köhler. And now that was gonna be a lovely ending to another point for AUC, but unfortunately a drop in the end zone lets us prolong this point even longer. But just as I say that, they get another chance. And Ose walking slowly to the disc. Köhler, once more we see the same piece of action, and this time it will be successful. Falduto, Ashton with the score.
Yeah, I think on that one, just one of those drops, maybe some cold hands. I'm starting to feel mine over here, and I'm in the booth with some protection in front of me from the wind. It's very cold here. The wind, yeah, like you said, the wind a bit crazy there. It seems to be going all over the place. It feels like it's blowing towards us now, but on some of those throws you can almost see it. Almost depends what half of the field you're in. There's a stand on the far side of the field, which is maybe, you know, impacting the wind as well. Sometimes the wind can be unpredictable. I was walking home from doing some shopping last night, and I was looking at a flag and I was very confused. It was about 15 meters in front of me, and I'm like, I almost stopped to take a video to be like, the wind in my face is blowing one way and this flag is going the other way. I was extremely confused. It looks like I think they called it timeout now. So, but again, just the wind here has been very unpredictable. I'm crazy. Like I said, I would not want to be the one out there trying to figure out how to beat zones in these conditions. Even if I got to go out there and play against these teams, I would find it very difficult to get much off. I think maybe
it must be a Dutch thing, a Dutch specialty. Yeah. You get your own wind.
Yeah.
But good choice to maybe have a little briefing after the first couple of points. We've discussed this. We've said that AUC, obviously, a team that practices together and has had probably a bit more flow in this game so far. But ski jump are not looking bad either. The handlers seem to work together well. They just need to get rid of some of the mistakes. But honestly, I don't even know if we can call them mistakes in this kind of weather. Just I think they're learning how to gel, and they have 2 days of this tournament to practice. So hopefully we will get them on the stream again, maybe, to see if they have managed to improve.
Yeah, as much as they're down 6-1, the time their handler play actually looks pretty good for the conditions, so it's just a bit unfortunate they haven't been able to connect more with the downfield ones. But there has been times where they've looked very confident in the wind also, despite a lot of these turnovers and the tough score lines. So maybe a bit of an unfortunate situation to be 6-1 down at the moment.
Looks like they are going to put up a zone, which is definitely not a bad idea, forcing AUC to take a few more passes, and it pays off almost straight away as that backhand into the wind just falls to the ground, and they confidently move the other way. Oh, that was a nice forehand that did that little quick 2 centimeter jump right in front of the receiver, and AUC just past the half line, trying to work through that ski jump zone. Delft throwing big fakes. She will have to get away from that sideline. Uge. And those backhands are proving so difficult. And ski jump zone doing the job. That was a great inside shot from Schlingmann. But another drop. This time AUC will respond with a big shot downfield, but it was a laser to kind of no one. But there's no shame in playing the positioning game in these conditions. And ski jump. Did not get that one. And Delft. Now that is a lovely forehand, and that's all they needed. A 1-pass score once more. AUC adding another one to the scoreboard.
Yeah, again, nice good shot downwind. If they're stuck on this near sideline a while ago, it's I was just thinking it was very windy. It was a very difficult situation for any of the handlers in. They almost got out of the zone with the backfield turn, but then ski jump not able to convert that upwind, and Amsterdam able to take the downwind. Nice shot in these conditions, made it nice and easy for the receiver. Again, the wind is dying down a little bit now. Maybe we'll get a slightly calmer second half. Both these teams still figuring it out, especially ski jump. Again, as we've said, couple of groups of friends joining together to form a team at this tournament. Really nice element to the tournament, where if you want to go somewhere, play some ultimate for the, and maybe you don't have a full team, this is a good tournament. A lot of teams doing this, and again, a lot of them would have gotten used to playing with each other yesterday at the hat tournament. So I think it's just it's a really good tournament for, like I said, smaller groups. You don't need a full team. Very nice venue, good location. We flew in here yesterday, maybe the day before, and we got here easy. Really well organized tournament. So if you're a small group of friends out there who are in a country and maybe your team doesn't venture out that much, and you'd like to go and play some international tournaments, this might be a really good tournament for you to look into, because again, I think they could have taken even 1 or 2 more teams this year, so I'm sure they'd be happy to have people signing up next year. Really nice tournament, and we're getting back underway here. Pretty nice pull given the conditions, and it's going to be ski jump taking it from the sideline. I would not want to be on this sideline. I would suggest trying to get it off this sideline as quick as possible, but the zone is back on again, and again they try to get it off the sideline, but just hard to get anything off in these conditions. Amsterdam now going to try and get the somewhat short field upwind. I say upwind, but it's wind slightly blowing towards us and just not able to hold on to the disc there, so ski jump's going to get a chance to try and score the downwind now, and just unable to hold on to it again. Really challenging conditions. I've got one hand holding my monitor in front of me to make sure it doesn't blow away here, so, and I think even the viewers at home here can guess with the way the disc is flying in some of these, it's just extremely windy. So probably the right idea. Take your deep shots, even if they're not 50-50. Less than 50-50 to me is a win in these conditions. So players, that disc has rolled well off the field, so players are going to get a bit of time to recover. I imagine there's going to be some kind of zone. Well, no zone set up this time, maybe. No, they're going to play match.
Well, maybe they just want to get warm.
That's a good point.
I wouldn't want to play deep or wing in the zone in this weather. But they are staying under. They are staying in between the thrower and their player. So the backhand is very high and it's going to turn out of bounds. Too high even for the tall frame of Köhler.
Yeah, tough to get a backhand off there in these conditions, but tough to get any throw off there.
Exactly, it's one of those things where you just stand there and can't decide what's less worse, so to speak. Engel gets it off the line for ski jump. They are in a nice position to score this point, but Köhler getting the disc back for AUC. Åse wants to get the deep shot off, but it's just in between the two potential receivers, and another wobble on the disc. It is hard for these teams, and they really have to grind for every single one. Now Falduto takes the matter into her own hands and puts up a nice forehand that bounces off the chest of Köhler. We hear a freeze call on the pitch, potentially a disc issue.
Yeah, I think it got damaged by the wind.
Blowing in opposite directions, bending it fully.
Yeah, again, I can't stress it enough. This is some of the worst wind I've. Lucky living in the Czech Republic, it doesn't get windy that often, but I forgot what it's like when you come further west.
Oh, and a nice D. I think that was Uge getting her hand in. And that is a nice gainer by Engelbrecht. But unfortunately that backhand towards the far sideline just so difficult. And a forehand put almost caught, but instead the receiver gets almost hit in the face. Luckily, I think she is going to call an injury. Hopefully her face is okay. Yeah, it is effort, John. It is so hard.
Yeah, I mean, like, it would look like a pancake catch. Next thing you're getting nearly a black eye after Frisbee.
Exactly.
It gets stressed to win. Given all the conditions, they're actually doing probably better than I was expecting from the warm-up. So
Pravdová unable to connect with Åse. One more chance for ski jump. Oh, it's caught on second effort. Good awareness by Van der Weken. The one thing we can promise you for this weekend is that this Monday and Sunday is that our Dutch pronunciation will improve eventually. We just have to get the hang of it at the party tonight, maybe. No, we're lying. We have our son with us, so no party for us. But there was some great karaoke yesterday, apparently. Oh, that is an excellent defensive catch. Bounce off and a catch from Van der Weken again. But she follows it up with a forehand that unfortunately once again lands on the ground. But good energy.
The wind really trying to help out the ski jump this team this time. There was two passes there where it was a definite turnover and the wind just kept the disc alive for them to get it. So timeout called here by Amsterdam Ultimate Club. I think they're sensing that this point's getting a little messy. Obviously a lot of messy points, but I feel like this is one where they feel like, hey, we can score this one and take half. So taking a little moment for themselves to recover and try and score an upwind.
And We will do the same in the commentary booth.
Here we go.
This year, London Invite is bigger than ever, with 8 teams in the Open Division, 8 teams in the Women's Division, and for the first time, a full 8-team Mixed Division.
With 5 World Games teams, USA, Canada, Australia, Germany, France.
As well as the Tokai Super Team, is sure to be the ultimate showcase of the best in the world.
More teams, more streams, more stars, more ultimate.
More excitement.
You're not going to want to miss London Invite 2025.
Welcome back after the timeout to the first game of the Rising High or Rising and High tournament in Delft, Amsterdam. We are tuning in live from pitch number 1, the stadium, with a women's game of Amsterdam Ultimate Club against Ski Jump, a team molded together by the organizers from group of friends that have signed up from different countries and unfortunately did not have enough own players to form an entire team. So in order to fill up the women's division and have as many people enjoy the lovely atmosphere of this frosty winter wonderland edition of this year's Rising High tournament, they invited them to sign up anyway and join and form extra teams, and they have given them these winter sport names, so to speak. So ski jump is the first one that you are able to witness on the stream. And can you summarize the first half for us, John?
Just lots of wind, challenging conditions. Some offense that maybe went underappreciated by probably everyone, unless you actually realize how difficult it can be to throw in these conditions. I imagine if you're a viewer at home, you're probably saying let's count the turnovers, but there has been some good passages of play by both these teams in the handler area. Like I said, if you can string a couple of passes together in these conditions, you're probably a pretty decent offense. And again, just Amsterdam Ultimate Club obviously just have a bit more, and when you have a game with so many turns like this, the team that probably just has a bit more chemistry together is going to find it a little bit easier. So again, the score is 7-1, but it's not the type of destruction you would normally associate with a 7-1. It's just a case of one team's just had a little bit of an edge, and in these conditions that small extra edge is worth a lot.
And Ski Jump have managed to put together a zone a couple of times already, and in this point in particular it has been bearing its fruits. And AUC, they have been zoning, I think, the whole game. And honestly, we should not forget that WCC is taking place in the sunny Limerick next year, and that is going to be some windy conditions to really put everyone on trial as well. Unfortunately, Ski Jump lose their disc in the last third of the field, and we have seen AUC a couple of times being able to score upwind from this position. They find Köhler in front of the end zone, and she finds Kadun in return. And that's another upwind score for AUC, and they would go into half if it hadn't been half already a long time ago. We have 60-minute games at this tournament, and I think at 30 minutes there's time half.
I was wondering what that stoppage in what seemed like one of the earlier points was. I was a bit confused. I thought it was a timeout. I forgot that the shorter games here, but I think shorter games at a party tournament, call it a party tournament, no harm to have some shorter games, similar to other tournaments like Tom's. It's nice to have the short games you get in. And again, just the conditions. I think both teams might be even happy to have the shorter games at this. 8-1. Again, like we said, the wind has died down a bit now, actually, but
They should play quick.
8-1 is probably a bit of a harsh scoreline on ski jump. Like I said, a small advantage in your throwing ability when it's wind is worth a lot in these. But I think right now the wind is relatively died down, so let's see what they can do in normal conditions. We call it normal, but still windy enough.
And unfortunately, there's an early turnover, and Delft wastes no time to pick up the disc for AUC. That was a lovely bit of offense to move the disc quickly. Right outside the end zone is Engelbrecht. And that is a score for Boikema. They did an excellent job to hold on to that disc despite not using the clap catch.
Yeah, just as I had said, the wind had started to die down a little bit. I think we just got the strongest gust of it there towards the end of that point. Again, slightly more downwind wind now, so Amsterdam going to be pulling slightly upwind here. Again, the wind kind of always changing, and that's another thing that just makes tournaments like this hard. Slight adjustments in the wind when it's this strong. You start to get used to playing one way, and then the wind dies down and it picks up again. It's just very hard to get any consistency in your offense, in your throws. Catches that sometimes seem easy, you're almost expecting to drop them because you're waiting for the wind to pick up. But yeah, again, just now it's picked up. Tough wind again. And let's see if ski jump should probably have a short field here, I would guess, to try and score. But if I was the team pulling, I might just say aim for the halfway line, try and hit the commentators in the boot, and that would be a pretty good pull that puts the other team in a tough spot. So anything beyond the halfway line here would be a pretty impressive pull. So
let's see if AUC will try to get into the double digits here, or if ski jump will use the rest of this game. We have about 9 or 8 minutes left to add some more points to their side of the scoreboard. That is a good roller pull. And Resch will start us off in the middle. Great grab from Dike. Ski jump not afraid to lose yards here in order to change the angle of attack. So good completions. AUC with their, at this point we can say, traditional zone. Really working hard to push ski jump backward, and there was a little bit of contact on that D, and it looks like a foul will be immediately accepted, maybe even almost called straight away by the defender. So ski jump remain possession, will go backwards. Nice one-handed grab. There's a continuation. They find the holes in the zone. It's good stuff out of ski jump. Finally making some progress, gaining a meter here and there to move towards the middle line. Hamburg was open. Excuse me. That came out of nowhere. Something must have blown into my nose, and then I missed the turnover, and now we have Osse picking up for AUC. Lovely inside break that opens up the field. This one is high. The defenders get there, eventually knock it down to make sure that the receivers behind them get no chance of catching it. And Van der Weken again bringing all the energy for ski jump to get around that zone. when they do find the holes in the middle, they're able to get a lot of gains. But this is a lovely outside in. What a put by AUC, and a great score by Sonja Song.
Yeah, 10-1 now. Again, it's just tough to get a couple of consistent passes together. The wind is just coming up and dying. It almost looks, if we look at the flags now, like it's blowing from right to left, but over here it doesn't really feel like that. Again, I think just a bit of the Amsterdam Ultimate Club. I think also it just helps in these conditions when you have a little bit more of a consistent structure. Obviously, as a more established club team, they're going to have a slightly better idea how they're playing and how they want to play against the loans, and they might be more aware of what their teammates are able to throw. I think one of the hardest things you can have as a kind of they're not a pickup team at this tournament, but as when you're kind of a group of people that are playing with some friends and you come together, a bit of an advantage you lose is that you're not always sure what other teammates can throw in these conditions. If the weather is calm, you can presume everyone's capable of throwing a 20-meter pass, but when the weather is like this, sometimes it might be just a case of this person might just only be able to get off dumps in these conditions depending on how long they're playing. So I think the fact that Amsterdam players are all probably know each other a lot better, it's a big advantage in terms of setting up your offense as well.
So the pull lands just behind the halfway line. Oh, and a lovely run through D. That is De Jesus with the defense for AUC. Double digits are not enough for her. She wants another score. Delvel towards the sideline. Now they're looking for the reset. They do get it, and that's a big swing. Complete it nicely by Cardun, who finds De Jesus once more. They go sideways. Continuation in front of the end zone. And a backhand for De Jesus. It is bookends for her. Celebration. Putting her palms up.
Yeah, really nice passage of play there. That was probably the best passage of offensive play we've seen in this game. The wind is still a bit of a factor, but I think that's hopefully what we get to see more of from these teams over the weekend. I think Amsterdam Ultimate Club, were likely to see them in later stages of the tournament based on that passage of play alone. So again, hopefully that they get more chances to show that. Like you said, we're all here on it's first game of the day. All these teams getting used to each other, and I think we'll get to see a bit more of that offense by Amsterdam later in the tournament, because that did look good. A lot of very crisp passes in difficult conditions, swinging it both ways across the field. It wasn't just throwing it downwind, and that, yeah, like I said, I think that was the best passage of play we've seen so far in this game. And if they can do a couple more of those, I imagine they'll be doing pretty well later in this tournament. I don't think they're taking part in this EUCS season. I looked through all the teams recently. I don't think I saw them, but passages of play like that, maybe next season, if they can keep those passages of play up, maybe they might have to decide they want to take part in the European season if they can get the players, because that was good.
And it's always fun to see the shortest player on the field do the most damage, so props to Pearl De Jesus getting the D and scoring the point.
I think both teams happy to take a little bit longer than normal between the points here. Again, shorter games, but this one potentially nearly gone to cap. You can see there with that wind, player holding her face in her hands. She realized last time she got it past the halfway line. I think this time it was a reverse brick. I'm not sure she reached her own brick mark, and I think
it happens to the best of us. Yeah. Don't worry, it happens to the best of us.
I think she saw the funny side of it too, so I don't.
I think that's all that ski jump could have wished for. I think if they don't take advantage of this, then it will be difficult to get an easier position. Oh, and it looks like there was some confusion calls. And
they're determined to work this the length of the field. I think it's just the player just signaled brick, and they just said, "No, we're going to make you take the brick." So good to see Amsterdam Ultimate Club here being vicious on the rules, saying you call the brick, you're going to bring that disc back 40 meters. But
even though Ski Jump actually wanted to take the other brick.
yeah,
Now this is a nice break side pass to Bernat, and this one will be just out of reach of Smeyers. So Uge picks up and gets the forehand off to Köhler. Köhler will want to shoot for the end zone, but
the wind says no.
the wind says no. There'll be lots of talking, lots of denial from the wind this weekend, something tells me. So one more chance for Ski Jump. They set up in a vertical stack and a big forehand. I saw Van der Wecken trying to push her body through on that one, and it looks like there will be a foul call. There was definitely contact, but so difficult to say. Oh, retracted, I think, based on the hand signals.
Running into the back of the defender there a bit. Not much the defender could do about that one. I think the offensive player just couldn't get around her to readjust to catch.
Another lovely put from Osse. She's been very, very steady for AUC, and now she goes through the break side again. That's a lovely backhand put into the end zone, and another second scored for Beukema in this game.
Yeah, nice throw and grab.
They've been doing great.
Nice throw and grab to end that point. And like I was saying on the last point, Amsterdam Club had maybe a nice passage of play. I think that finishing throw and grab there, slightly upwind, really nice. I'm not sure, again, like we said to the viewers at home, it's hard to stress how difficult the conditions are at time, and that was actually game. I thought we had one more, but players have said no, this is game. So
this is it. So AUC walk away with a big victory in the first game of the tournament and of today. Ski Jump gaining some experience, learning about each other. They will take it with them to the other games that are expecting them today. In any case, we have a lot more coming up. Next up is the Open Division, Nightwings from Belgium versus Ars Ludendi Open from Germany. My name is Rachel Doshnerova, and I was here with John Doherty, and we're looking forward to welcoming you on the stream in a few minutes. Checking out for now.
I know you know